Hello once again, our most valued student. My name is Confident and welcome to the second part of this paper. And this is Mathematics Grade 10. And as I said, I'm doing actually for my student who's doing Grade 10 from Curro High School. And this is a 100 marks paper, as you can see. And I've already done part 1. So now we are looking at part 2 as we're continuing. And this is question number 6. And before I do that, just remember these guys. There are formulas that they gave here for this paper, and it is very important for you to be able to recognize that. We have used 2 of these, and then the other one is for probability. So it is very important that you recognize that. Now question 6, which is probability, it says a 10-sided dice 10-sided, has its faces numbered 1 to 10. A is prime numbers, B is equal to numbers smaller than 6. Alright, okay. But before I continue, guys, disclaimer: there is noise in the background, a lot of noise. So I hope you're not going to see that as a distraction. But I have to do this video for the sake of the coming exam for my student, but I hope it will make sense. If you get some background noise, apologies in advance. Alright, so let's continue now. It says 10-sided dice, which is 1 to 10, and then A is prime numbers, B numbers smaller than 6. Complete the Venn diagram. So if we can quickly do that. Now let's have our sample space is equal to what we have. 10-sided, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, it's 10-sided. So with this 10-sided, they're saying A is prime numbers. So which means we need to locate prime numbers. Remember, what is a prime number? It is a number in which 2 cannot enter into without leaving. In which 2 cannot enter into, or if you divide it by 2, it will leave a remainder. So these are the prime numbers that I'm recognizing here. Actually, no, not even numbers and odd numbers. A prime number is a number that is divided by 1 and itself. 1 and itself. Automatically, I'm forced to take 2, because 2 is divided by 1 and itself. 1 is divided by 1 and itself. 2 is divided by 2 and itself. 3 is divided by 3 and itself. 5 is divided by 5, and so on. But the other numbers, like 4, is divided by more than one number, which is, it can be divided by 1, by 2, and by 4. That's not a prime number. So here, if you list the numbers which are prime numbers, so what you're gonna have A as an element of 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7. Are you getting that? So that is A. And then B, what is B? B, they are telling us that B is a number smaller than, that is the sign, smaller. They didn't say equal to, smaller than 6. So any number that is less than 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Don't include 6. Why? Because it must be smaller or less. They didn't say smaller than or equal to 6. Alright, now we complete the Venn diagram. When you complete the Venn diagram here, you come here and say, okay, which one is my, this becomes your A, this becomes our B, and then with that, what do we see as in the center? In the center, it means what is common between A and B. This is the intersection, meaning the numbers that are appearing in A and the numbers that are appearing in B. So let's look at them. We can see that there is a 1, and then there is a 2, and there is a 3, and there is a 5. Do you see that? Now, what did we leave out in B? We left 4. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 5, but we left 4. See where I'm putting the 4? It is B only. That's B only. What about A? It is 1, 2, 3, 5, and then there is 7 that was outside for B. For A. Are you seeing that? And then there are other numbers that are not even included, which are in the sample space. Look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what don't you see? There is 1, yes, we have 2 already, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, we don't have 6. So we can come here and say, okay, 6 is outside. We have got 7, we don't have 8, 8 is outside. We don't have 9, 9 is outside. And we don't have 10, and 10 is outside, like that. Are you with me? So that when we count them, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So complete the Venn diagram to illustrate these outcomes. I think this is the solution to that. Alright. And then B says the Venn diagram below shows the spot preference of 64 grade 10 boys. It's 1 mark. Determine the value of X. So here when you're determining the value of X here, so what you simply do, they're saying 64 boys, grade 10. So in total, S is equal to 64 here. Are you with me? So you just add these numbers. Then they must give us, okay, plus, 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 plus. Let's not forget that. So what do we have? We have got 14 plus 10 plus X plus 22. Everything you add, it must give us what? 64. Are you with me? Then you take all the numbers to the other side. You have got X is equal to 64 minus 14 minus 10 minus 22. They need to give you the value of X. That's why this was just simple 1 mark. You know, they didn't want to make it a big issue. So it's simple 64 minus 14 minus 10 minus 22, which is equal to 18. If I did my calculator right, this is X is equal to 18. Okay, so that the total is that. Alright, now moving on, as I say, this is part 2, just to save time, not to make this video too long. Determine the probability that, okay, it continues. Determine the probability that a randomly chosen boy will play rugby only. So this boy is going to play rugby only. You see? Only rugby. So you come here and say, if you look at this diagram, which represents rugby only. So if you start to shade, you can see that, remember, if I enter here, it will be rugby and soccer. So I mustn't enter inside. So rugby only, it's outside. It's this and that only. That's rugby only. So that's what you are having. So the probability there, you can see it's 14 divided by the total sample space, which is 64. So P of rugby only is equal to 14 over 64. You can simplify it if you want to get the smallest common denominator. I think this will just give us 7 over 32 in simple terms. You can also put it as a decimal place if you want. Alright, and then number 3 still continues. Determine the number of not R union not S. So let's go and find the number of R union S first. So if they say R union S, what were they meaning? They were meaning R, this is rugby, union S is everything here. You see, you take union means everything in rugby as well as everything in soccer. So this that I'm having here, this one here, it's simple R union S. Are you with me? Let me just use a different that so that it can be clear. This is R union S. That's what I was doing here. Now what about the part which says here we need the number of not R union not S. You see, so we are looking at everything that is outside now, and from here you can see that it is equal to 22. I see that. So that is that the number of R not union S, union not S. Okay, it says this is 3 marks. It says in life sciences experiment A and B are 2 different events. It was found that probability of A is 2 over 5, Probability of B is 2, probability of A is twice probability of A, and probability of A or B is 7 over 10. Determine probability of A and B. Now, as I told you, there is a formula which says probability of A or B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B. So I'm going to quote this formula here. That's the best one to use, to say probability of A or B, it was good for you to recognize that, is probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B. Are you getting that? So now, how do you work this out? So since we are looking for probability of A and B, I will simply take this one to the other side and take this one to the other side. That's what I'm going to do. So that I've got probability of A and B being equal to probability of A plus probability of B, now minus probability of A or B. You see that? Then we have now probability of A is 2 over 5 plus probability of B, it's 2 probability of A, which is 2 over 5. Because they are saying it's here, it's 2 PA, you see? So you could have substituted here and said actually this is 2 times probability of A, you see? So this is the probability of A. And then what we have minus probability of A or B, which is 7 over 10. Alright, you don't have to do much from here. Just take a calculator and find the final answer, you know. So which is equal to 2 over 5 and then plus 2 times 2 over 5. You know, you don't have to stress yourself with the 7 over 10. Let the calculator do the working, which is 1 over 2. So the probability is 1 over 2, which is equal to 0.5, you see. So that is that on this one. So it was a matter of you applying the formula there. That was 12 marks. Now moving on to the next question. It's more like a sprinting. We are sprinting now. It's no longer a slow pace, but I hope it is also making sense. Question number 7. It says 4 possible answers are given below. So this is more like a multiple choice. Only one is correct. Cycle the correct one, and then spaces are left for calculations. All calculations will be considered in the marking process. Oh, so they consider the calculations. How many marks is this? But it's 1 mark. It's funny how they can consider that in a 1 mark thing. So here they're saying the graph below has the following properties. Now first one, A is greater than, we can tick that, but Q, this is Q here. Yes, A is greater than or equal to. I'm not comfortable with equal to there, but it's fine. But here you can see that Q is out. What about here? A is greater than 0. Yes. So here the first one, as I say, is more like a question mark to put equal to. But the second one, Q, you can see here Q is on top, is greater than 0. So this one meets both conditions. A is less, no. Q is greater than, yes. A is less, no. Q is less, no. So here they say circle the correct one. There it is. And then the reflection of y is equal to 2 to the exponent x plus 1 in the x-axis is, so alright, so the first one is 2 to the exponent x plus y, you know, is this graph. They will always give you something to trick you. So that is that graph whereby 1 is the asymptote here. You see, this one is the asymptote. So if you reflect, it means you will have this asymptote jumping to -1. So we are going to look at the graph that has got -1, which is this one. This one is off, or this one, because it's got an asymptote that moved, remember, along the x-axis. So we are reflecting here. So this one will come somewhere there to become a reflection like that. So that's why -1 is correct. But now if you reflect, you can't maintain the same shape. Even the shape changes, that becomes the answer. So we circle that one. The shape, it was going up, now it will simply go down. Okay, So the next question 3, right, question 3. If f of x is 2x plus 1, then 2 that is equal to, then 2 f of x minus 1 plus 3 is equal to what? Let's do this. We are saying f of x is equal to 2x plus 1. What about 2 f of x minus 1? Okay, that was plus 3. Alright, which is equal to, look, the 2 is multiplying here, not the 3. So you're going to write it like this, 2, like this. Where there is f of x, remember f of x is 2. Our f of x is 2, but where there is x, you put what they put as the new one. You substitute there. So 2x minus 1. You see that? But that is where there is x only. But don't forget, you have got plus 1. Don't forget the plus 1. So you have got plus 1. This is what is multiplied by 2. You can see here, this is your f of x minus 1. This one. It's your this. Alright. So now, let's continue. And then it says 2 f of x minus 1, and then we've got what? Plus 3. Let's not forget that. Then we open up this bracket. How do we open it up? Let's leave out the 2 for now. We open the inner bracket, that and that, which will be 2x minus 2 plus 1 plus 3, okay, which is equal to 2, which is 2x, what, minus 2 plus 1, it's minus 1 plus 3. Alright, then we continue. We have to open up again the bracket. This opens up, which is 2 times 2x, which is 4x, 2 times minus 1, which is minus 2 plus 3, which is equal to 4x minus 2 plus 3 is plus 1. So we are looking for 4x plus 1. So this is the better. There it is, 4x plus 1. So you settle that. 4x minus 1, no. You just needed to do the right expansion there. Okay, let's look at question B of that. It says h of x, the graph of h of x is equal to ax squared plus q is sketched below. Okay, we see the sketch of the graph. This is 4 marks. This is 4 marks. And then what are they saying here? They are giving you some hints. Then they're saying determine the values of a and q, 4 marks. Alright guys, let's look at what we are given. Very important to identify what we are given. Look, they didn't just give you that for nothing. There is 3 and then there is minus 3. So what are those? Those are the x-intercepts. When you write them in coordinate form, you have got 3, 0, and we have got what? Minus 3, 0. And we call them what? The x-intercepts. These are the x-intercepts, meaning that's where the graphs cut the x-axis. That is where the graph, as you can see, it is cutting or it is crossing the x-axis. So I can choose one of the points. I will prefer the positive. And when I choose it, I will say h of x, remember, is equal to a x squared plus q. Are you with me? And then what I'm going to do, I'm substituting now. I'm going to use, as I said, this point where x and y. Remember, h of x is representing y. So when y is 0 is equal to a, which I don't know, but x squared is 3 squared. So it doesn't matter. You can use minus 3. You can use the other point. And then plus q. When you simplify this, you have got, let's start with, this is 3 squared. What is 3 squared? It's 9a squared plus q is equal to 0. I just started from this direction, going this direction. So this becomes our first equation, because you can see I've got a and q. But why am I saying a squared? There is no a squared. It's just 9a, because 3 squared is 9. Remember, this square is only affecting the 3. The a is outside. Okay, so I just wanted to correct that. It's just simple 9a plus what? Plus q. So that is my first one. The second one, I can focus on this equation here, this one. So I'm given here, what is it? They gave me P, so that's what I'm going to use. So if I use point P being minus 4 and minus 14, remember here it's my X and this is my Y. Are you with me? So if I substitute similarly to the graph that I had, which was h of x, remember this point, is equal to a x squared plus q. Remember this. So if I substitute this here, so what am I going to have? Where there is h of x, remember this is the point y. So it's minus 14 is equal to a, then x is minus 4 squared plus q. See that? So minus 14 is equal to negative 4 squared, it's 16a plus q. If I write it going this direction, I will have 16a plus q is equal to negative 14. This becomes my equation 2. So I'm going to bring it here to say 16a plus q is equal to negative 14. This was equation 2. So it's easier, look, q and q, so I don't have to struggle with what it's a simultaneous or simultaneous equation whereby I just need to subtract. What am I subtracting? 1 minus 2. See that? So I just put minus here. So 9a minus 16, what is it, guys? 9 minus 16 is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's 7a, but it's negative. Am I right? So 9 minus 16 is equal to that. So it's that. Q will cancel out. Q minus Q0 is equal to, now it's 0 minus minus 14. So it's equal to 14 positive. You see that? So there is negative, negative. So you divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7. What is my A? My A is equal to negative 2. Does it make sense? If it's negative, if A, meaning here A is less than 0, and you can see the shape of the graph is correct, it's facing down. It's a third graph, it's facing down. If it was facing up, A was going to be positive. The question was find A and Q. So we can take now equation, let's take equation 1, which is 9a plus q, into 1. 9a plus q is equal to 0, but we know our a, which is 9, what? 9 times negative 2 plus q is equal to 0. Take that to the other side. 9 times negative 2, what is this? This is negative 18, am I right? Plus q is equal to 0. So what is q? Q is equal to positive 18. So you can see that in this case, this was your q. If you remember now, this is your q here. That's the q. And you can see that q is what? Is positive. Alright, so this is the 4 marks that you can use to, the 4 marks working there that you can use. Now, moving on to the next question. Question 8, it says, given this is equal to that, determine the value of x if f of x is equal to 0. Now, we want the value of x if f of x is equal to 0. So here, this is equal to 0. So what do you have? Minus 3 to the exponent x plus 3 is equal to 0. Then you take this to the other side. So it's minus 3 to the exponent x is equal to minus 3. So what happens to this negative? You divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, it cancels out. Are you seeing that? So 3 exponent x is equal to 3. Now what do you have as a hidden exponent there? It's 1, not 0, it's 1. If it's like that, then the bases are the same, and according to the laws of exponents, therefore x is equal to 1. Then write x is equal to 1, because the question is determine the value of x. 2 marks, guys. It was not much there. It's just a matter of reminding yourself of exponential equations. The next one, determine f0. 2 marks. I don't know why they made it this 2 marks. Now, if f of x here is equal to negative 3 exponent x plus 3, You see this? But now they are saying f0. I don't know why they made it this. f0 is equal to negative 3 to the power 0 plus 3, right? You can use a calculator there so that you don't get confused. Okay, so it's minus 3 exponent 0 plus 3. What do you get? It's 2, you see, because this is minus 1 plus 3, which is equal to 2. Are you with me? So that was that, and then I don't know why they made it 2 marks. I thought it was going to be 1 mark because there's some questions that they have made them there is a working part is 1 mark. Now C, so it continues. Sketch f of x on the Cartesian plane below. So we are going to sketch what? F of x, and then clearly indicate the intercepts with the axes and the asymptotes where applicable. We're going to come back to that. It's 4 marks. Which one are we sketching? F of x. We are sketching this graph. They gave us minus 3x plus 3. So let me write it down to say f of x here is equal to minus 3 to the exponent, not 3x, plus 3. We are sketching that. Now, remember, it's similar. They gave you a hint, you know, this question, actually they gave you a hint. Let's go to that multiple choice. If you still remember the multiple choice, where was that multiple choice? If I can take you to the multiple choice backwards, let me see, okay, backwards, here. The hint is this graph. When they said you are reflecting this graph along the what? Along the x-axis, you see? So what you are saying is the x-axis, in as much as they didn't change, but what was changing was the y. You see that the y was becoming negative. So the values of y, we said this is the original graph. This one, it was the original graph. You see that? But now the values of y also changed to start having this graph, meaning y became now negative. Are you getting that? So now when you look at this graph, to say what are you deducing from this graph here? First of all, this positive 3 is the asymptote. Okay, so we start by plotting that if we want to be. Then that's our asymptote, and then I will do it like this to have a broken line. So that is my asymptote there. Are you with me? So what is the asymptote here? It's simple. Y is equal to 3. That's the asymptote there. Now you need to ask yourself, where is this graph going? Is it going up? If it's going up, it will be like this. Or it's going down. If it will be going down, it will be like this. But look, there is some hint. You were given 2 points here. You have got coordinates here. When x is 1, that's why they were giving you this. F of x is 0, meaning y is 0. Let's go and look for that point. When x is 1, y is 0. And that point is when x is 1, y is 0. There it is. You see that? This point is 1, 0. And then, do we have another point? Yes. I think we have another point, f0, to say here, when x is equal to 0, what is y? Y is equal to 2. Do you see that you have got the second point there? So you can write that in coordinate form, and then say here, when x is 0, y is negative 2. Are you seeing that? So let's do that. When x is 0, y is, let me get that. When x is, sorry, let me just when x is 0, y is 2, not negative 2. When x is 0, y is 2. There is the point. So you can see where this graph is going. You don't have to struggle. It is a graph that will go down like this. See that? And then you have that, and then you have that. Then you label. It's always good to label the graph, and then you label the graph of f like that. Okay, now what is the next question here saying? I think we're done here. There it is, D. Write down the domain. What does oh, I didn't answer the question. Sorry. Let's come back to say, clearly indicate the intercepts with the axis. You indicate it here. You can even go on and say here it's 0, 2, and then you indicated here it's 1, 0. That is the first part. And the asymptote were applicable. Having a broken line, it's important because you are showing that that is an asymptote. Even labeled, writing the equation of that. Are you with me, guys? So let's not forget that. Just have those key things there. You're not going to have a problem. Now then they say write down the domain. What does domain mean? Domain simple means x values. Alright, so the domain of this graph, the x values. Look at the x values of this graph. Where are they going? Remember the x-axis. This is the x. This is the x-axis. So where are they going? They are going this direction, which is negative infinity. And then they are going this direction. You see, they are not ending, which is positive infinity. So when you write them, you've got two ways of writing. You can just simply say x here is an element of what? Of real numbers. Or if you want, you can say x is an element of negative infinity. Okay, negative infinity to positive infinity. You can leave it like that. Either this one or this one. That would be correct. All right. So let's move on to the question number 9. Almost finishing. Just give me a few more minutes. Question number 9. Question number 9 says the graphs of f of x is equal to this and g of x is equal to that as sketched below with b as st. There it is. All right. But as I say, guys, you need to study. What did they give you? Okay. So now let's look at the question before we go into further. Determine the equation of the vertical asymptote of g. Vertical asymptote. Now, if you look at g, the horizontal asymptote is this one they showed us. But where is the vertical asymptote? It's along the y-axis. Okay. So what is that? What is the vertical asymptote there? X is equal to 0, not y. It's x. X is equal to 0. So the vertical asymptote here is simple x is equal to 0. That is the vertical asymptote, right? The horizontal asymptote, what we're gonna say, there it is. It's 1. This is, where am I getting 1? There it is. Y is equal to 1. That's the horizontal asymptote. Are you with me? Right? Show that the value of s is equal to 1. S is equal to 1. But look, something is interesting between A and B. These two graphs are meeting each other. Do you see that they are crossing each other? Whenever graphs are crossing each other, and then we have got the graph of f and g, right? When they are crossing each other, it means the graph of f is equal to the graph of g. Now, what is the graph of f? The graph of f is minus 2x minus 1. So you write here minus 2x minus 1 is equal to the graph of g, which is what? Minus 4 over x plus 1. You see that? Minus 4 over x plus 1. Minus 4 over x plus 1. Where is it happening? It happens, let me write again some notes, when the two graphs, what are they doing? When the two graphs cross each other. Cross, they are equal at that point. They are equal. The moment they cross, they are equal. Even their equations are equal. In a way, you're solving a simultaneous equation. Are you with me? So now, this is this guy. This is algebra. And they want you to solve this algebra. The problem here is the x. So you multiply everything by what? By x. So in a way, you are saying x times, and then you're saying here, minus 2x. I think that. And then we have got, again, minus 1 times, again, the problem is our x is equal to minus 4 over x, again, times this x is the one that we don't want. And then we've got plus 1, again, times x. Do you see how I distributed the x? So the x is in each and every item. Be careful, you see, whether it's a plus or a minus, you put the x and an equal sign. What you do on the left, you do on the right. Are you with me? So at the end of the day, you are having minus 2 times 2x. I mean, x times minus 2x, it's negative 2x squared. and then here negative 1 times x is minus x or minus 1x, it's up to you, but here this cancels. That's how you get rid of, which is minus 4 plus 1 times x, which is x. Where is my equal sign? It cannot just disappear like that. So here there must be my equal sign, so I lost it here. So drag this a bit, and then what will I have? Equal to. So minus 2x squared minus x is equal to minus 4 plus x. Now take everything to the other side. It will be minus 2x squared minus x. The x again changes from positive to negative, minus x. Negative 4 become positive 4 is equal to 0. Alright, so we continue to say minus 2x squared minus 2x plus 4 equal to 0. 2 is common. Do you see that 2 is common and the negative is common? Do you see that? So we can divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. Even on the other side, it's always proper to do that, even if it doesn't change. Why am I dividing by negative 2? I don't want my x squared to have negative 2 because that's a quadratic equation now, so that I can have my positive x squared. Now again, you see, negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive x now. That's where you need to be careful now. And then negative 2 divided by positive 4 is negative 2. You see? This is equal to what? 0. Now, you need to factorize. This is factorization, and then you need to know the skill of factorization in this case. This is your x, this is your x, you know this is your 2, this is your 1. Now, the bigger number must be positive. You see that? The bigger number must be positive, the other one must be negative. So what do you say? X minus 1 equal to 0, or x plus 2 equal to 0. Do you see that? That's how we're solving now for x. What we have now, x is equal to 1, or x is equal to negative 2. Now, look at this. Remember, we said this is where these points are equal. So we identify x is equal to 1 and x is negative 2. But look at this already. We have x is negative 2. There it is at that point of intersection. Meaning this one will take the other one, which is what? X is equal to 1. So our s here, you can see that s is equal to 1 because that's the x value. And this is the y value. So s represents the x. So s is equal to 1. So you can come here and say, that's why you have proved it here to say therefore s, not x, s is equal to 1. You see that? So that is how you can just prove that. Alright, so the next question that is then says what? Write down the what? Write down the range of G. What is range? When they talk of range, they talk of y values. Domain is x values, the range is y values. So let's come back to this graph. The range of what? Of G. Okay, let's come back. What is G here? G is, let me erase everything again. What was G? The graph of G is, alright, the graph of G is this one. This is the graph of G. And then they are saying to me here, I need to find the range, the y values of G. Look at how the y values are happening. We have got this line, the asymptote line, very important. So you see that y starts from that part, and we did mention that this asymptote, sorry about that, we did mention that the asymptote there is what? Is plus 1. So here y is equal to 1. So we are saying y must be greater than 1 because why? It's going up. Are you with me? Or you can put it like this: y is an element of 1 to infinity. It starts from 1 to infinity, but this is the best way. So y is greater than 1, but look here, it's going down. Here y is less than 1 because this is still the same graph. Remember, this graph is going up and the graph has got the second quadrant, which is 2 and 3, which is going down. And then even here you can write it as y is an element of negative infinity. You start by that. to say negative infinity, because it's starting, the negative infinity is down there, up to what? Up to 1. But this is the best. So y is greater than 1 and y is less than 1. How many marks was this? They gave it 2 marks. Y is less than 1 or y is greater than 1. These are the domain values. And then it says, for which values of x is g of x greater than or equal to f of x? So if they give you g of x is greater than or equal to f of x, so what they're saying, you go and look for g of x, it must be above f of x. Are you with me? The graph of g of x must be above the graph of what? F of x. That's what greater means. Greater means it must be above. So let's go and identify the portion of the graph where g of x is greater than f of x. Let me write it down. Where g of x is greater than or equal to f of x. Let's check. Is that the question? Yes. So the graph of g is above. I told you. That means above. The graph of g is above the graph of what? The graph of f of x. So let's go and look at that. And you can see the portion. Let me just take something thicker. Where if this was the graph of g, you see, here, it is above. Because look at this one. This one is below. Let me use a different marker. You see, it is below here. It is below. It is below up to that point. Let's stop there. We cut here. You see? So this one is above here. But if you look at the other one, I'm going to make it a broken line. Look at here. From here, it's not. Because the graph of G is at the bottom. The graph of F is above. This is F. This is G. Do you see that F is above G? But we want where G is above F. But now, where does it start from? It starts from what? Minus 2. So here you're going to say minus 2 is less than or equal to, because they used equal to there, is less than or equal to x. X is less than or equal to this asymptote here. We said, what was this asymptote? The asymptote was 0. So it will end at the asymptote as 0. That's the first one. The second one, look at it. This graph, there is a point again where this graph is on top. And if you're not careful, you are going to mess it up. It is from here, you see, it's on top. It's on top. And this other graph, no, it's below. So this is our G and this is our F. Do you see that? So where does it start from? Remember this point we did indicate that this point was what? This point was 1. Here, it was 1. So we are saying 1 is less than or equal to x. X, you see, it stretches forever. So we can't write anything further than there. So you can just say x is greater than or equal to 1. Or you can say x is an element of what? 1 to infinity. So these are the answers. You wanted that or you wanted that. And then how many marks did they give? That's why I say sometimes they're a bit stingy. See, they gave 3 marks for that. But anyway, that's how you analyze. And then lastly, question number 10. This is where you're finishing. It says the Bluecrans Bridge boasts the highest commercial bungee jump in the world. Suppose the arc is modeled by the function. This is the function f of x is minus 4 over 4625x squared plus 216. So it's more like quadratic, you know? This is a quadratic equation. And then f of x in meters is the height of the arc above the deepest point of the valley. So they gave that. And then they say determine the height of the top of the arc to the deepest point of the valley. As I say, this, if you can try to picture it yourself. Let's have a graph. So we have got what? This is a graph of y and the graph of x. Try to picture it like this. X squared. Forget about the other number. It's minus x squared. So where is it facing? It's more like facing down like this. Are you with me? And then here is this point, which is 2, 1, 6. Are you getting it? The negative means it's a set graph. facing down, and the positive one is that. So you can see that the highest point of this graph is 216. Do you see that? So that's why the question here, determine the height of the top of the arc to the deepest of the valley. So if you look at it, the deepest of the valley, this is where the graph actually starts. It will be like this, it will be like this, because this along the x-axis the graph is going to cut. So you'll be having something like this. This is the deepest point where what? The y is equal to 0. Are you with me? So it is going to be the deepest point. And then here, what you're going to have, now that 216. See, that is the height there. So that's why I think it's 1 mark to say determine the height. So h height is 216 meters. All right. And then the next question says the lowest points of the pillars, points A and B, are 175 meters above the deepest point of the valley. Right. Determine the length AB to the nearest integer. So this is what they have here. If you can see, they've got that point. Let me make it red. They have got this point to say here from here to here. They're saying it's 175. And then it will be the same here, 175. And then in a way we have this. So here, what are they saying? They are saying determine the length AB to the nearest integer. So they want us to find this AB here. Alright, they want us to find AB, the distance AB. So in a way, this distance AB is this distance here. This becomes your A, and this will become our B, if I'm doing that right, because at this point A and B, what you're going to have A and B. So yeah, I think that will be that. We want to find this distance A and B there. So now how do we solve this? So it's 175. When x is 175, that is our f of x here to me. If I'm doing this right, this becomes now when f of x is equal to 175. So if I'm working it out, it will be f of x, which is equal to 175, is equal to minus, what is the number they gave us? It's minus 4 over 4625, you see? Minus 4 over 4625. You see? X squared plus what? Plus 216. 216. You see? Because this is still, what I want to show you is, this is still the y. You see? This is still the y. Why? Because it's going up. So when y is equal to 175, the question is what is x? So we are going to find that value, and we're going to find that value. Are you with me? So now let's continue. How do you do this? You solve for x. Take, because already here it's negative, take it to the other side, take 175 to the other side. So you have got 4 over 4625 x squared. You see that is equal to 216 minus 175. Are you with me? And then you continue to say here, if you look at this, you have to multiply by what? By times 4625. And then here you'll get the answer here, and then we're going to multiply by 4625. So let's do that. If you cancel that and cancel that, you're going to have 4x squared is equal to, you can leave it like that and take a calculator, simple, and say, remember we said 216 minus 175. You get that answer. It is 41. Now it's 41 times 4625. Okay, then you get that number. But let's leave it like this because it's too much a number for me. Let's leave it like this to say you're going to get 41 times 4625. I can work it like this. You divide by 4, you divide by 4. then what do you have now? You've got x squared is equal to 41 times 4625 over 4. Alright, now what do you get? How do you find x? You square root both sides, am I right? So you're going to square root here and you're going to square root here, and when you square root you say plus or minus. So x is equal to, we're going to find, say, plus or minus, then we get that answer. Plus or minus what? So let's do that. It's square root of bracket 41 times 4625 over 4. Square root of that, which is 217,73. 217, it's 217,73. They say we must leave our answer to one decimal place actually. So it's 217,7. Are you with me? Now, we are saying there are two values of x. So when you take that x, 217,7, you will have it here. So the negative one is negative 217,7. The positive is 217,7. So what is this distance now? You must forget about the negative. So the distance, you just multiply, is 217. You see that? Forget about the negative. From here, it's 217. And then from there is... So in a way, we are saying from here to 0, it's 217. And then from here to there, it's 217. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And then now, so you have got like 217.7, 217.7. So that distance now, you multiply this 217 times 2. So say distance AB is equal to 217,7 times 2. And then it will give us now the final answer. To say 217,7 times 2, it gives us what? 435,4. I hope this was that one. 435,4 meters. That is AB. The distance is that. So that was how many marks did they give? It's 4 marks. So that is the end, guys. This question, as you can see here, if I can erase a little bit from here, it says total 100 marks, you see. So it means this was the end of the paper. So if this was my A, so the total that we're having here is 100 marks. So the paper ended here. Remember, this is part 2. I was doing it in the midst of noise and rain and everything. So apologies for that. I hope you'll understand. My student, I hope you'll understand. I know you know yourself who I'm talking to, but I hope you'll understand. All the best in your exam as you prepare for your final exams. We've come to the end of our lesson. Thank you. I'm going to, by the way, I'm also going to try to work on paper 2 of the same paper. This is what? This paper was, as if you still remember, this is the paper from 2022 from the Curro schools, Curro group of schools. And just a hint, we did the previous part just to show you this is part 1 if ever you didn't do that or you are coming from the same school, you know. So we have come to the end of our lesson. Thank you.